Hi, everybody. I like Amber's data better than mine, so I might just do her presentation again. All right, let's start off. We talked about this before, but I spent almost 2 decades at Walmart building out their retail media businesses and e-commerce businesses in Canada and the US. And a lot of that was focused on omnichannel. And how are we going to most effectively talk to that consumer and engage with them? And in its infancy, it started out in a place where we wanted to have a seamless and connected conversation across all consumer touchpoints. And that today is still something that brands and retailers across the board are working on. That then, because it was incredibly complicated, morphed into a place where we wanted to have a more digital-centric conversation with the consumer in store. And so we pivoted to this idea that we could make the stores look and feel more digital, thereby contributing to the effectiveness of an omnichannel conversation. That, in hindsight, and something that really propelled me to work at Firework, was maybe not the right approach. And the reason for that is that the stores at any given retailer have somewhere between a 60 and 100% conversion rate. So at Walmart, almost every single consumer that walks in the store ultimately purchases something. The website has about 3%. And so when we think about where we need to invest our energy in optimizing and enhancing, it's not about making the store feel more like a website or more digital. It's about making the website feel more like a store. And that, and what I surmise in this and what I want to talk to you about today, is why we think video is going to lead the path in that. And it starts with social. So today, the majority of video consumption on the internet happens in the West in social. So consumers today scroll a mile a day in the age groups of 18 to 64. So almost our addressable market in general is scrolling a mile a day. And they're watching an average piece of content for 1.2 seconds. So if you're a brand and you're creating all this incredible video content, it's kind of going to waste because they're only watching it for 1.2 seconds. And a large portion of the time, they're watching information about products and services. And so when they go to TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, a lot of the time they're actually seeking out information about your products and services. They're talking about ratings and reviews, and they're looking for live demos of an individual product or spins. They want to see and feel and engage with that product overall, and they're doing it in social. And a lot of the time, they actually prefer that content overall. And so what do we know? We know that people consume a lot of video on the internet today. They spend a lot of time doing it. And a lot of the time, they're looking at products and services as the information they're consuming. And so my prediction is that in the next 2 years, video will replace text and imagery as the dominant driver of digitally influenced sales across the board. And digitally influenced sales is not just e-commerce, this is all sales. When we can scale video, it becomes the dominant driver of purchase decisions moving forward. But there is a challenge with the model today, and I mentioned it before. It's that the majority of video consumption today happens in social, and the majority of transactions happen on the website. And so people go to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and so on to learn about the products and services that they ultimately buy from your website. And I go back to the days at Walmart, early on when Facebook was really taking shape in Canada. We invested millions of dollars in driving followers and likes on our Facebook page. We amassed a huge following, millions of customers, and we had these incredible organic conversations with them. And then at some point, Facebook came back and said, okay, now you're going to have to pay to talk to those consumers. And this happens time and time again when we invest in building our communities in social. We then have to pay to have a conversation with them. And that breaks the productivity loop. Because every single time we want to get a consumer to purchase, we have to pay to get them to come back to our website. And so there's 2 ways that we could solve this. One is we can continue that trend, and our CAC and our customer acquisition costs will continue to go up. And two, is we can take those same similar experiences of video and social and build them into our own website. And when you do that, you can come to a place where consumers are inspired at point of purchase, where they can engage with recipes and different pieces of content right on your website. You can engage them exactly like you would in social, have chat and deep conversations with them, lead them right down to the purchase, all in the overall experience itself on your website. And you can shop and learn about the products that you want and transact in the same place. And I think this is probably the most important piece, is when you can combine shopping and the intent to shop with purchase, some pretty phenomenal things happen. Generally speaking, we see increases in conversion rate, in time spent on site, in basket size. This is almost across the board when you're putting video on your site. But the other thing that's really interesting when you think about it from a social to website perspective is that when they're in the shopping mindset, when they're truly in the shopping mindset, you can 14x the consumption of that video. So we know a bunch of things at this point. We know that video works. We know that video drives sales. We know that video is an influence point. And we know that when you put the same experiences of video on your website, it dramatically changes the way in which people consume with that data. And you move to a place where historically we've had 3% conversion rates to a much more engaging experience in the realm of hopefully 60% conversion rate. And this is the final piece of this, and this is why we think about video in the realm of omnichannel, is that video has this capacity to change the way in which consumers feel about a website and engage with a website. We see upwards of 166% lift in conversion rates, in propensity to buy from that brand when people are engaging through video. And so video is a dominant driver already of purchase decision. And hopefully, in the very near future, we can move to a place where websites and physical stores and physical experiences all start to feel much more and more alike. And if you have any doubts, it's happening already. You've got Best Buy's virtual store, where they're shooting right from the store and engaging consumers with all of their product sets. You've got a Shop with a Specialist, where you can shop with an Apple associate on the website. And you've got Walmart moving to a much more video-based place and engaging with consumers via that medium. And so that's it for me. Any questions?
Hi, thank you. So video is good, and it's really common in social media. We scroll a lot. On website, it becomes like we have to now spend money and buy a product. How long a video, do you have any data, like conversion? Like it should be small clips, like we know from YouTube to TikTok how that data and the consumption changed. How long the video should be so that you get better conversions?
So people are still consuming, if it's a short video, they're consuming it for less than 30 seconds. And so there is still the need to be very succinct about the narrative. If it's a live video, people are consuming it for 10 plus minutes. And so just by having what seemingly is a real life moment, people spend a lot more time on the video. I should say, and this is actually probably the more important piece, is that video works at scale. And so if it's taking a single brand video or a high production asset like a commercial and putting it on your website, it's not enough. It is creating a repeatable experience for the consumer where they can come back almost daily and see new content and new experiences. And so when video becomes scalable is when this truly, truly works.
Okay. Thank you.
I should say, on the Braze train, I love the Braze brand, and we're thinking about mimicking the Braze brand. Yeah.
Hi, Drew. Thanks for the presentation. Very insightful. I want to ask a question with the rise of ChatGPT and LLM model, and how could you make sure that all the live videos and are presented by real person. And how you envision your future with the platform together with AI.
So this feels like a great setup, but it's not. So there's some really neat ways that we're using AI today. One of them is in chat, we can take the live video and cut it, basically take voice to text, upload it to OpenAI, and then anything that happened in the video, be it the product cards, the pricing, whatever they said, we can then create a live chat. And so if you were to watch one of those videos at a later point and type in what's in that recipe, we can tell you right away what that is. And so I think AI plays a role into this, to your point, and I think where you're going is we need to be thoughtful about how we still create those human experiences versus like what we're seeing in the Chinese market where you're going to avatars or kind of like a almost deep fake experience. I think AI plays an important role in making it feel engaging and live, but I agree with you, it's not the be all end all of it. End all be all. Do you want me to?
Yeah. Someone I was talking, like on that point, someone I was talking to today was saying that there was a study that just came out that showed that 80% of people feel that the AI is more empathetic than real people. So I'm not sure about, about your comment, Drew. All right. Over here. Okay.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Kesavan. I had a question on the unit economics of content creation versus the ROI for the content creator. I have personally worked on influencers creating content and videos and shoppable content and so forth, right? The unit economics was really hard, where how much you get paid as a content creator versus how much that piece of content is monetized through sales of the product, right? So it was really challenging, and this was like 4 years ago, so I'm curious to know if that has changed in the last 4 years.
Another setup. This is great. Thank you. So yes, I agree with you, and I think that becomes one of the biggest barriers to entry for this thing at scale, is figuring out how do you create content at scale, how do you produce a video on a daily basis, or multiple videos on a daily basis. AI will power some of that. The other play really is, this is about a true, authentic conversation. And so what we're seeing work best is when store associates or CEOs or brand ambassadors, like customers, are having that conversation instead of the creators. And that fundamentally reduces your cost of content creation because it's essentially free, but it does another thing, is that people love filming themselves and then talking about it. And so you actually create a model whereby almost everyone that is a customer, store associate, executive at your company is sending this content out to their networks and thereby marketing on your behalf.
Thank you. Great presentation, Drew. Thank you for sharing all of that. I love the idea of bringing videos to websites, but I'm curious to know, you mentioned something about the customer acquisition cost and how that kind of, spikes on social media when you get to a large customer base and you can't talk to them without paying them. What about your infrastructure costs? And when you host videos, one thing is, yes, the production cost, but the technology of it to scale it and upload videos to a server, stream from the servers, things like that. Do you have any insights on how that scales and what your involvement is in that part, or is that just the customer doing it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I should say, I've never really introduced Firework in this conversation. Firework is an immersive video commerce company. It's essentially a SaaS play where we embed this technology on your website. This technology is 20 patent pending pieces of technology that is, among other things, super low latency. And so I think key to embedding video on your website is making it really fast, sub 1 second. Because we know that if you create a paint time greater than 1 second, it has a negative 8% impact on conversion rate. And so we need it to be really, really fast. From an infrastructure perspective, this is fast, reasonably priced. It's easy to implement with one line of JavaScript code. I don't know if I'm really answering your question or not. It's the infrastructure itself is not that complicated because we've been building it for 3 or 4 years. I think where it becomes complicated, and what we're seeing with the likes of many brands that I've worked with in the past, is when someone tries to build it themselves. Because the runway to build a truly efficient, fast, scalable video technology is a 3 to 4 year roadmap.
Hi. So
Hi.
I've noticed that you say that a lot of users, they watch from a product from videos, but then like they buy it from the website. And I think because me, I usually buy a lot of stuff as well, right? So I just have a question. It's 2 parts. So it's like, first of all, because it's like what you see on the video, right? It's like it doesn't, like the product is not always as good as it seems. So that's the first part. It's like, when you like promote something, it's like, and then when you actually get it, it could be different. So, and then the second part is like, if I see something from the video and then I really want to buy it, but how do I make sure, like, how do you guys make sure like the logistics part is like all kind of smooth?
So the first piece is, and that's where we think video has a big play, is making, if someone being able to visualize a product in motion or on a real model is I think incredibly important moving forward. And so it's not just this beautifully curated image, it's actually seeing that product live. And so that changes actually does a couple things. One is it changes propensity to buy. 2 is it actually reduces return rates. And so when people can see a product moving in motion, it changes the way in which they engage with that product and their propensity to keep it. The second piece is that, I forget the second question. Just yell it out. Oh. Got it, okay. So this technology is at its core a video technology. It has cart enabled in the experience via either multiple merchants of record or a direct integration with the native cart. And so we don't manage logistics themselves. We manage the video, the content, the technology where you can check out right in the video experience. Logistics is still managed by the retailer at the end of the day. And then the other key piece of this is these videos can get distributed across a network of publishers, social, and so on. For the most part, we can append that same cart, your native cart, to the video experience. And so you can actually effectively turn things like the Daily Mail or Blog TO into a transactional site with pointing back to the merchant of record, but never having to leave that video experience. So.
I think, unfortunately, that's all we have time
after.
for. I know. Popular guy.
Thanks, Marie.